Life is quite the journey. I'm still not certain whether we're the authors or just the actors who deliver the lines and build the scenes. Philosophers like to argue about free will, and theologians like to talk about destiny and prophecy and fate. And some people believe in nothing. Some people believe it's all random and the human mind assigns meaning to an existence built on coincidence. I used to believe that it was all just random. I'd be a fool to still believe that. Life has clearly showed me otherwise. Now, I'm no longer certain whether we choose a path or a path chooses us. I'm no longer certain that we don't volunteer for these moments long before we are born. One of our greatest failures are not failures at all. What if they are doors? What if we are always exactly where we are supposed to be? I've been asking myself this question for the last 5 years. Was I a man manipulated by darkness, or a necessary hand in a work far greater than myself? I still don't know. How can the same moment be our sin and our salvation? I suppose I only know this. Some stories do not begin when we enter them. Some stories continue long after us, and some stories begin long before us. This is one of those stories. The story I'm going to tell you is not my own. It is much older than me. I'm telling you the story because I happen to become a character in it right at the very end. Although it is not my story to tell, if I don't tell it, you would never hear it. But it is the story of everything, the story of good and evil, the story about whether we choose ourselves or everyone else in this lifetime. This is a story of conflict and grief, the human journey, death and immortality. But more than anything else, like reality itself, this is a story about love, the very fabric that holds everything together. At the heart of it all, it is love. It can only be for love. I tell this story now because some stories do not belong only to the people who lived them. Some stories in history and art belong to all of humanity. This is one of them. The story I want to tell you is called The Blueberry Daughter. But to understand the full story, I must first tell you how I became a part of it at the very end. My chapter is called The Mighty Esox. In the simplest terms, it began as a road trip. My brother and I drove north after our grandfather's funeral, carrying little more than fishing poles, a letter, and a jar of his ashes. But that is not really what it was about. Like so many other stories, at its heart, it was about love and grief, and perhaps something a little darker. Our grandfather was more than a grandfather to us. He was the man who raised us. When he died, something in me broke. 6 months earlier, he had asked me to take a road trip with him to Wisconsin. I told him we would go next year, but there was no next year. When he asked, I had already lost my marriage but was trying not to lose my son too. I made the wrong choice when I told him no, and that regret stayed with me like a wound that would not close. The day after his funeral, I found a note hidden inside one of his old books, the note he had written decades before. It spoke of the hidden Ojibwe village called Anaquad, a place not found on any map, a place untouched by time that had once changed his life. The trip he had asked me to take was meant to finally be his return. I wanted to make things right, so Alan and I went in his place. We drove for days, following mile markers and faded instructions on the old note, and somehow we found it. The Anaquad. The cloud. A town suspended between worlds. It was everything my grandfather had written about. And it was there that I met her, Winona, the granddaughter of the chief and the future mother of their tribe. I loved her from the moment I saw her. Before she spoke, before I knew her name, something in me recognized something in her. But I was an outsider who could never stay, and she was the cornerstone who could never leave. Ada Kawad was beautiful, but something was wrong. For before we even arrived, I felt like I was being watched. Like there was a shadow following right behind me all the time. But no one else seemed to see it, so I mostly ignored it. That was my great mistake.
It was you.
Then, after a few days, I glimpsed it. The fish. A muskie. An Esox fish. Except, it was unlike anything I had ever seen. It was too large, too ancient. It was too impossible. Once I saw it, I could not let it go. My obsession was not just about merely catching the fish. The fish was only a doorway, a path to my redemption. It was my path to Winona. Looking back, I no longer understand how this illusion ever took root in my mind. But for days, I chased it. Before dawn, after sunset, I broke sacred rules and promises I had made because I refused to fail. I broke myself until obsession was all that remained.
You have to catch it.
Please, help me.
And when I finally had the great fish on my line, it broke free. When it vanished back into the water, I lost all hope. And that brings us to our final night, the night of the potluck. The night when I heard the story of the blueberry daughter, and our story here begins.